Welcome back to Rush the Field. Didn't really have a great video idea. It's definitely hitting the slow part. I got some projects in play, but wanted to get a shot up. Don't want to go cold turkey for weeks on end while you try to work on these other projects. And I thought nothing better. I did the top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. Might as well, do a tier list for wide receivers. I said even in that quarterback video, I don't really love the definitive one, two, three going down the list with how talented the NFL is. So, it's nothing more prevalent or more clear than when we talk about the wide receiver position in the NFL. This is one of the most deep, talented groups in the entire NFL's history that we've seen in quite a long time. I have to be very honest with that. I don't think you will find, maybe outside of edge rusher, quarterback's a good one, where you're going to find the level of talent and depth from 1 through 15, 1 through 25. It's definitely better than, I would say, the running back position. I would say it's better than the corner position. Linebackers, obviously, like I'm going through the list. Maybe edge rusher is the only one I could hear you out on, and then quarterbacks if you really want to go down the importance of the position. But what we won't sit here going through an entire intro. You see the tiers. We have the arguable wide receiver one at the very top, usually what you would see at the S tier. The reason why I say arguable is just, do I feel they have an argument to be the best wide receiver in the league? And if they don't, they're going to go into the elite or top 15 tier. Then you have the really solid to top 30. I don't think I have like all 30. I mean, we have the rookies in here. We have, I think, all the guys that people are going to care about. So we may have to take a tier off because I don't know if there's going to be the capable or below average starter or the gadget players. So we'll see how they land, and then we'll end up, reviewing the whole thing. But just before we dive in, if you're new here, welcome to Rush the Field. Give me a shot. I love talking about college football and football in general. This channel is only going to get better over time. I truly care about this content, and I put in a lot of work to try to, get out as much as I can. And every comment that you guys put in, like I get excited to be able to interact and hear different opinions. My opinion isn't the best one. It's only the one that God has given me, and I can only just give it out and try to give the best justification. And I'm trying to hear out all the different point of views when it comes to football, because it is such a polarizing sport. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you for giving me another shot. But let's go ahead and dive in. We have one of my favorite players. I was gonna make a video of the post player or my guys for the NFL draft. If you haven't seen it on the channel, I have a video talking about the guys that I want to put stock into for the NFL draft, outside of, obviously I like Caleb Williams, I like Drake May, all the top guys, but like these are the guys that, maybe not everyone has stock into, or maybe they're the more polarizing prospects. And Adonai Mitchell is one of them. And I'm going to take the opportunity to talk about Adonai Mitchell's fit with the Colts. Adonai with AR-15 is something that I had been projecting for months. It's something that I was hoping for. I wanted him to have a special talent on the outside, whether it was Brock Bowers, because there was rumors that the Indianapolis Colts were potentially going to trade up for it. And I completely understand Michael Pittman's there. Michael Pittman is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the entire league. But this is definitely a time and an era where you can't short yourself on weapons. You never know when an injury is going to happen. And when you have a guy like Jonathan Taylor in the background and a talent like AR-15 who has a willingness to get better, there's been countless reports about his work ethic and how much he wants to grow. And that's why, outside of the talent and the anomaly that he is as an athlete, I've always had a lot of stock that he's going to get better over time. And you might as well try to take a shot on a guy who is uber talented at the wide receiver position, who can bond with his quarterback and really develop and grow in a Shane Steichen offense that is going to develop him. I understand there's the character issues, but I think those may be overblown, because you never really know what a guy is going to be in the league, but they can be red flags. I fully understand that. But this is such a great pairing, in my opinion. And I think Adonai is going to have a really, really good first rookie year. Like he is a bailout specialist at the bare minimum. You throw the ball up, he's going to go make a play. Pardon me. He is a deep ball specialist with so much talent to grow as a wide receiver. I think he is going to be, when we're talking about these running backs, not running backs, when we're talking about these wide receivers, I think Adonai Mitchell, like when we're talking about the rookies, it's all projecting. And I'm projecting a little bit what they should be going into the season. With the other guys, it's hard to project. I'll try to keep it in basis of what they are. And honestly, if you were to say, I don't think that you should be ranking rookies, fully understand that. I get it. Take them off your list, take them off my list, and you'll basically get where I have the rest of the guys. And there's going to be a little bit of projecting. Obviously, it's the offseason. There's no real fun in just being like, this is what they did last year, this is what they're going to be. And then we get a bunch of new information and we end up looking wrong. I made a poor decision on saying Josh Jacobs was a top 5 running back, and that proved me wrong. I should have been projecting that his role was probably not going to be at the same level of what it was. So Adonai Mitchell, I think, is going to be a capable starter, borderline top 30. I'm going to place him in top 30, and then we're going to count, and I'm going to make sure. And if he falls out of that list, so be it. A.J. Brown is elite. He doesn't have an argument to be a wide receiver 1. There's no way around it. I love A.J. Brown. He was statistically fantastic. He's one of my favorite players. There's just not an argument for him to be wide receiver 1. And this will be in order. So I will be very cautious. If you are farther to the left, that means you're at the very front. And if you're farther right, you're at the back half. It's very simple. Amari Cooper, is he top 15? I could make the argument. I'm going to say he's closer to the very front. Maybe we adjust the tiers, but I'm going to put him in top 15. If he gets pushed out, he gets pushed out. I like Amari Cooper a lot, especially at the age that he's at. He's still producing at an elite level. I love everything he brings to the table. Amon-Ra, we're going to put behind Amari Cooper and just hold him there, because I feel like I'm going to have to take about Amon-Ra somewhere in this video. But I want to get a lot of these, and then we make adjustments. Because we're sliding left and right, and we got to be a little more definitive in this, we're going to get a lot of shots up. Capable starter, Brandon Cooks. You can argue below average if you want. Just at his age, he's a solid starter. You're not mad if he's your wide receiver 3. You're a little pissed if he's your wide receiver 2. Brandon Ayuk is elite. I think he's better than Amari Cooper. He's one of the most slept on wide receivers in this league. I think people really started to come around of how good he is. And I think Brandon Ayuk, still someone that if he's on the 49ers, which I think he is, and if he was to go to the Steelers, if he was to go to Jacksonville, he was going to flourish, and he's going to continuously get better. We're talking about a guy with elite skills. Like I fully understand people may look at the Amon-Ra St. Brown thing and look at his statistics. I'm comparing the skill set of what the wide receiver can bring to the table. And I will factor in production, but Brandon Ayuk is a better route runner than Amon-Ra and faces tougher talent on the outside. Amon-Ra is a lot more of an inside wide receiver, which is not a bad thing. We've seen a lot of success in recent years about inside wide receivers having a ton of success, finding soft spots in the zones, playing linebackers great. And he does his role at an extremely great level. Like, I don't want to try to discredit Amon-Ra, but Brandon Ayuk's skill set is much better. And that's why I'm going to have him above a guy like Amon-Ra. And we could dive a little bit more. I think Brian Thomas Jr., I just don't know if he's going to have this, breakout year with Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to have some big plays. And I think he's going to have an inconsistent year. I like Brian Thomas. He's very talented. Like, I can't hate on Brian Thomas Jr. and like Adonai Mitchell. They're super, super talented. They have some distinct flaws, but I think with the skill set of what he has as a route runner, he's going to be a big play guy. He's going to have some games where I think he drops 150 yards or 120 yards, but then there's going to be games where he, kind of disappears in the offense. And that was kind of something that he dealt with at LSU. And so I think he could be a really good player moving forward, but we're talking about just this year and a little bit of projecting, especially with these rookies, like I said. So I think he's going to be one of the top starters and maybe cracks that top 30. And, maybe Adonai Mitchell falls. Calvin Ridley, I would say, is slightly better than Adonai Mitchell and is going to have a better year. It's just the hands, man. I'm going to hold it right there, and we're going to come back to that. CeeDee Lamb, I came around to it. He's better than A.J. Brown. At first, I thought A.J. Brown was better, and CeeDee Lamb's just incredible, man. He's just incredible. He plays inside, outside. He plays basically, they have him playing running back. with the Cowboys in that offense, and he is the Cowboys offense with Dak Prescott. As much as I want to give Dak a ton of credit for taking over that Cowboys offense, and it's been documented, very well documented, that he was tasked to take on that role of the game manager. Not like he's a game manager, not a playmaker, not that type of argument, but that he is the guy that's going to make the plays, the checks at the line, and it was very prevalent in the season. But on top of that, the way they use CeeDee Lamb and how good he has developed, and his ability to make plays after the catch, his route running, like everything about CeeDee Lamb, he's a lot closer to arguable the best wide receiver in the league. But because of how deep this position is, he doesn't have that argument to be the best wide receiver in the league. Maybe, if he goes off again, he could. But I think he is right there in that top 5 area. That, I mean, credit to CeeDee Lamb. He's just incredible. And I think A.J. Brown, as talented as he is, CeeDee's better. And Chris Godwin, I'm going to slot him in that really solid to top 30 range. I think he's probably in that top 20, top 25 range. Chris Olave, same. He could be right here in that top 15. I think a little bit more consistency in the production. His skill set's right there. But I need a little bit more production. Obviously, he's being held back by a guy like Derek Carr. Christian Kirk, really solid. I would put him, Calvin Ridley. I'm not going to get into it, but I think he could just stay right there. And these two are like 1 and 2. Chris Godwin, Chris Olave, I'm not going to really argue. Christian Watson, injured a lot. I'm gonna say he's going to be right there just because I think there's better Packers wide receivers. I don't know if he's going to stay healthy. His skill set's still very raw. He could really realistically have a Brian Thomas like season. But the thing is, Brian Thomas is a rookie. Christian Watson, I believe, is going into his 3rd year this year. So you're hoping for him to take the next step. And with Brandon Cook's skill set, I think he's slightly better. But if you're really arguing that, welcome to my page. I don't know if I'm going to push back that much. Cooper Kupp, man, I'm going to slide him right in front. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really do. I'm going to put him in front of Brandon Ayuk, and I'm not going to feel good about it. Courtland Sutton, below average starter. Or no, I think he's a capable starter. I think he's better. Gadget player, Curtis Samuel. I think Curtis Samuel is a below average to gadget guy, nothing crazy. Devontae Adams. People may not like it. I know my buddy Trent loves it. Devontae Adams still has an argument to be the best wide receiver in the league. He's still the same player, just in a worse situation. He just doesn't have Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. I'm sorry. That doesn't mean he's changed as a player. Maybe this year his athleticism takes a dip, but I really don't think that he's going to be this substantially different guy. I just think he's been in a pretty crappy situation in the Vegas Raiders. I mean, we're talking about a wide receiver that's only 31. I get that's a little bit on the older side, but this is not like running backs where once you hit 30, you jump off of a cliff. His skill set still matches damn near every single top wide receiver in the league. And the dude's still incredible. So that's why I still think he has an argument to be a wide receiver 1. Now, is he my wide receiver 1? No, but he could still have that argument if you still want to go off the skill set. It's really tough to match up with Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. Devontae Adams, route running is better than both of them. His hands are arguably better than both of them. So if you want to go down that route and that's what you value, Devontae Adams does have an argument. And if you really want to snake him for the production, have some more context, listen to who he's throwing to, what that offense was looking like. We know what the Raiders have been. So I still think he has an argument. D-Hop, I'm going to put him in the back of top 15. No disrespect, but I still think we're talking about a guy this is the difference where you could usually use the injury of maybe he's back, but now it's more, okay, there's some steps back in the athleticism, and athleticism wasn't his strong suit. So it's safe to say that I think he's in the back of this realm, but he's still someone that you're very much happy to have as your wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, just it'd be more on the low end. And I think he's closer to being a wide receiver 2 nowadays, but That's not to say he can't have crazy games. We've seen it. We saw it just last year. Deebo Samuel. I don't want to violate. I don't want to do it. But Deebo Samuel as a wide receiver, I would put him in front of Chris Godwin. I wouldn't feel great about it. But Chris Olave, I think if you ask the 49ers who would they rather have, maybe it's Deebo Samuel. I'm not trying to violate. The dude does his job really well, but I think he's in that top 20 range. He's not really close to top 10, top 15. Smitty, man, I really like Devonta Smith. It's between these two, but I'm going to put Smitty in front of Ayuk. He's got the better routes. I think he's got slightly better hands. The yak, it's good. I'm going to lean towards Ayuk. And people may get like uncomfortable with the idea of Kupp and Smitty that close, but I'm not that uncomfortable. I'm really not that uncomfortable. Deontay Johnson, capable starter. I think he might have a better year than Brian Thomas Jr. He's on the Panthers. I think he might have a slightly better year. Nothing crazy. DJ Moore is elite. And you can make the argument about him and Smitty. But I'm going to put DJ Moore in front of him. Dude had an incredible year. I'm not really tripping about it. These three, you can put in whichever order you want. I'm going to respect DJ Moore, the production he's been able to do, especially with Justin Fields at quarterback, and he really could blossom. His skill set is really great. I mean, I always love a receiver that can have some great yak ability. Like you see guys like AJ Brown, CD Lamb, and he's closer to like Cooper Kupp than he is to Amon-Ra. But we don't have to have that conversation, and Cooper Kupp might upset some people. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt with the injuries. It's been a yearly issue, and you'll see his teammate is probably going to be quite high. Pardon me. DK Metcalf. Love my boy DK. I do. He's inconsistent, though. He's really damn inconsistent. I must put him in front of Deebo. The dude could realistically, if he put it all together, be up here. Be right there with AJ Brown. But he's just not consistent enough. He has an incredible game where you just sit there and you're watching. This dude could be the best player in the league. But he just can't put it all together. Dontavion Wicks, really great starter. High-end starter. I don't know if he's going to be better than those two, but it's really a mixed bag with the Packers wide receivers. So I personally can't comment to say, I like a certain Packers wide receiver more, and he's going to be pretty high on this list. And I just feel weird about this capable starter tier, to say the least. Drake London with Kirk Cousins, projecting a little bit. I'm going to say he's going to be right there with Chris Godwin in between Calvin Ridley. He's got better hands than a guy like Calvin Ridley. I think he's going to produce really well this year. He could really jump up into maybe that top 20 conversation, but I feel comfortable with these guys in front of him. Garrett Wilson, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to have the conversation with Garrett Wilson. Because right now, he, to me, is a lock top 10 player at his position. After reviewing the film and really trying to set my how I look at players and how do I want to look at a player and rank them and where they go into a tier with the context of their production. He is the reason why I say with context when we're talking about players and the numbers they put up, because people will just look at the numbers and be like, oh, he just put a K. Well, what was his quarterback situation was like? What were the Jets like? And the dude was the Jets passing offense for what it was worth. And his skill set matches up with damn near every single wide receiver. In a couple years, he has an argument to potentially, if he reaches that ceiling, to be the best wide receiver in the league. That's how good Garrett Wilson is. I really struggle to see a weakness in his game. I fully understand people can try the argument of, well, D-Hop was able to succeed with this quarterback and this quarterback and this quarterback, but also let's not act like Garrett Wilson wasn't succeeding. It's just the numbers aren't going to look like a CD Lamb, like an AJ Brown, because of the quarterback situation looks way, way different. And in all honesty, Garrett Wilson, dude, he's closer to top 5 than he is to top 15. like end of like at 15, he's closer to 5. We got to have those conversations. Let's speed run some of these. George Pickens, talent wise, I think he's more talented than DK. Is it nasty to put him there? Maybe. Jahan Dotson, I think he's a really good starter. I don't know if I put him in front of these guys. Maybe Adonai Mitchell's starting to stand out a little bit. So, well, if we put Adonai right there, I'll put Dotson in front of him. You know, I might even put Dotson in front of Deontay. I really like Jahan Dotson. I think he needs a better shot. Jamar Chase, we're going to put in front of Cup. And I think Chase is better than Wilson. Skill set matches up, but it's pretty close. And Chase might be better than AJ Brown. Might be. JMO, he's a gadget player. I want to give JMO a chance, but hate to say it. Capable starter for Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think he's going to have a really good year if he just ends up, getting an opportunity. He hasn't it. I really do hope with this new Seahawks coaching staff, and as a Seahawks fan and someone that wants to see Jackson Smith and Jigba develop and grow. The dude was seen as like one of the most NFL ready wide receivers in a relatively weak NFL wide receiver class. But throwing screens to him is not how you're going to be able to get him to produce and play well. And I guess they're waiting until Tyler Lockett decides to not want to be the wide receiver too. But man, I really do hope with Ryan Grubb, the new OC, I really do hope that he's able to get him involved into the offense in a much more creative way. And because we've seen like his ball tracking ability and his ability to catch the football is still really good. His route running is still really good, but how he was utilized in his rookie year was really disappointing to watch. And as someone that wants to see him develop, and I was really excited to see him potentially flourish with a lot of inconsistencies in the wide receiver room. Like there's a lot of talent. DK Metcalf is very talented. Tyler Lockett is the definition of consistency, but to get that passing offense with Geno Smith firing, I really think that wide receiver 3 has been something that this Seattle team has been missing a lot. And so I hope that he gets a better opportunity than we got in his rookie year. Jaden Reed. I think he's really damn good. I think he's really good. This video is getting 23 minutes long. All right, we're going to have to speed this up because I see 2 rows. So Jalen Waddle, top 15. Think he's better than D-Hop. And I would put him right there. Yeah. Jordan Addison. I'd put him up to really good, really solid. And I'd put him right there. Jettis has an argument to be a wide receiver 1. And I'll put him over Tay as of right now. Keenan Allen is really good. Keenan Allen is probably closer to Amon-Ra. Jalen Waddle, these are like polar opposites. So Keon Coleman, I think he's going to have a really good year. Is he going to have the better one than these guys? I'm kind of going to clump them all together just to be safe, Lad McConkey as well is going to be really good. And I think out of these, I think he's going to be a better year than Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors. If I'm projecting, I think he's going to have a better year than, you know what? Let's get nasty. I think he could have a better year than Chris Kirk and like be in this tier. Maybe we have conversations. Maybe we really do have conversations. But I'll stop right there. Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown on the Chiefs is going to be a capable starter. I think he's just going to be a really solid starter for the most part. Big Maserati Marv. We're going to have conversations. We're projecting, right? You know what? We're projecting, right? We're projecting. All right, bet. I might even try to get rid of these. I might even get rid of like the numbers just because it's going to be a pain. Michael Pittman is really solid. Actually, Pittman's, I think, damn near elite. I just don't think him and D Hop going back and forth. Mike Evans is really solid. His skill set just doesn't match a lot of these guys. Him and Chris are just really good, really solid. Mike Williams is a capable starter if he plays. Nico Collins, I think he's getting right there, potentially better than DK. Puka is elite. Don't need to really argue it. Puka is elite, and I think he's better than Amari Cooper. And I'll give him credit. I think he's better than. I think Puka's right there. Roma Dunze on the Bears. I think his year. Just because of opportunity. He's like gonna be the third wide receiver, so like opportunity really worries me. Stephon Diggs is gonna be elite. He's still elite. Let's not do this. Diggs. Man, this is getting tough. This is getting really tough. You know what? Let me just speed run and we'll talk about it. Okay. So this is it. I don't feel great about it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel great. It's just so tough when we're talking about these elite level players and like so like the top 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stops at DJ Moore, Cooper Kupp at 11, and then you go down the list. I don't know if I gotta defend anything else. I think I'll respond on my TikTok. If you want to go see my TikTok, you can find it. But yeah, we'll talk about any kind of responses on clips that I got. But you see the list, you see the full thing. Have at it, man. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this very long video. We're at damn near 30 minutes, but long form content. Cut it up. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.